Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, Raising A to Z. My name is Amanda, and today I'm answering a question that we get from a lot of newbie homeschoolers, and especially right now with so many parents now homeschooling their kids because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. We're seeing a kind of a surge in homeschooling parents, and this question is coming up a lot. The question is, how many hours a day should I be homeschooling my kids? Well, the answer is it's going to vary greatly depending on your child and your family situation. But there's a couple things you need to consider and we need to unpack in this question really quick. The first thing I want to say is homeschooling is so different from public school. You're going to be a little bit shocked when I tell you the numbers. So kids in public schools are at school often for 6 to 7 hours a day. So that leads a lot of parents to believe that they need to be homeschooling 6 or 7 hours a day. That is not the case. There's a lot of things that happen in a classroom that will never happen at home. For example, attendance. You will never take attendance in your house because you know your kids, you can see them there, you know they're there. As a teacher, we would have to go through, make sure all the students are there, go through and put it into our specific school issued computer program. We have to check in on why the kids aren't there. We're going to make sure that the kids who come in late are given late slips. They have to go back to the office, bring them back in. We're going to do agendas. We're going to make sure everyone is sitting down and finding their notebooks. And when you're doing that for 20, 25, 30 kids, that can take some time. It doesn't matter how old they are, whether they are 4 years old, 10 years old, or 17 years old, that can easily take over 15 minutes just first thing in the morning, sometimes 30, depending on what else is going on. So things like that are just things you're never going to see in a classroom. Transitioning kids from one activity to another is also going to take a lot of time just because there's so many of them. So getting kids from the Lego station over to back to their workbooks takes time, and it's just a volume issue really. Another thing when you're homeschooling is you're not doing as much busy work. So oftentimes you'd see teachers who, for example, do a math lesson, they break it down into multiple parts. So they'll have like the actual lesson, they'll have a practice time, they'll come back and all talk about what they've learned. When you're teaching a concept to just 1 or 2 kids, they're sitting right there. If they're making a mistake or if they don't understand it, you can talk to them quickly. What would have been a 1 hour lesson in a public school can easily be 10 to 15 minutes in a homeschooling setting. So just right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that the amount of time you need to homeschool your kids is a lot less than what you would expect coming out of the public school system. So how long do you actually have to homeschool your kids? When you're talking homeschooling, most people are asking how many hours should I expect my child to sit at a desk and do workbooks? The reason why we need to make that distinction is because there are so many different ways to learn, and sitting at the desk is a valid way. It's what a lot of people do. But we need to be realistic about what that time limit actually is going to be. So kind of the rule of thumb is that kids can handle about 3 to 5 minutes per year of age. So for example, a 5-year-old can handle anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes of seat work per day. Not per session, per day. That's what you should be ideally aiming for if you are going to be doing seat work and if that is a style that you work with. That's how much workbook and worksheet work you can expect from a child per day. And then obviously that makes sense that a 10-year-old can be doing anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes per day. That's kind of your rule of thumb of how much seat work you can actually do in one day. Now, does that mean that is all the homeschooling you're doing in a day? No. Because that's another thing that we need to remember is that homeschooling is about a lifestyle. It's not just like a sit here, answer these books, if the questions are answered, you're done. Homeschooling is about learning all kinds of things and learning through life. So whenever you're reading, that's homeschooling. Whenever you're listening to music or audiobooks, that's learning. When you're doing life skills, when you're baking, when you're working on the car, when your kids are going out for nature walks, those are all learning opportunities, and they're all things that are engaging them in learning. When kids are taking violin lessons or music lessons, when they're going to gymnastics or hockey, they are learning. It's just not traditional academic subjects, but that doesn't mean they're not learning things that are going to apply to their academic lives either. So there's definitely going to be things that cross over. Like I remember taking ballet lessons, we were learning anatomy. We are learning what the different parts of our body were, the muscle groups. So things are going to cross over, and that's great. That's how real deep learning happens. So just because they aren't necessarily having their moments timed or their learning sessions on the clock doesn't mean that it's not learning and it's not real learning. If anything, sometimes those non-traditional homeschool moments are going to be the time when your kids are learning the most. Don't worry about too much about them having to stick to a schedule or having to do hours and hours of workbook a day. It's not really realistic for most kids. Do what works for your family and find ways to learn that are following their passions and their interests. And, again, keep their workbook sessions short and sweet. Thanks for watching. And if you like our video, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell. We put out a new video every Monday on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we like to talk with all of our Facebook followers and our Raising A to Z fans. And if there's a video that particularly speaks to you or you really want to share it, please share it on social media. We would love to help other people navigate the world and the journey of homeschooling. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Bye.